Hey, we're live now. It's awesome having you on this show. Welcome. I would love to know where you're connecting from. Please kindly just put your name and where you're connecting from. Thank you for joining this show. You're welcome. I am Sandra Ukoh. I'm an author and a Maxwell certified leadership coach and speaker. And today we have a special guest on our show. But before I go into bringing her on board, I'd rather want to explain further what this show is all about. I want to congratulate everyone for joining me on making a difference on this journey. I'm so excited you're getting on this journey with me. We can become that change agent we're all called to be. And on this show, Making a Difference with Sandra Ukoh, we train, we teach, we mentor, and we coach people on how they can become better versions of themselves in the areas of their finances, their business, their careers, leadership skills, relationship, and all. We learn from other people's stories and life experience, just like we're going to be learning from Inyang Sami-Orungbe. And we learn from people's stories and their life experience. I mean, those who have gone ahead of us. So we can ride on the experience to avoid the pitfalls they had in time past before they conquer. And we can soar like the eagle. Our goals to soar like the eagles and get to our goals faster and become better versions of ourselves. Making a difference includes being financially okay, doing great on all fronts of life, business-wise, spiritually, physically, mentally, just name it. Just being all right, be a 360-degree person, a change agent. And today we have a special guest with us who'll be telling us how she conquered, what she has been doing for those number of years, how she became a success, and how she's influencing our world, making a difference in our world. And today I'll be bringing up upstage. But before I do that, I would like to just say one or two things about her. Inyang Sami-Orungbe is a business administration graduate with an MBA in business management and has over 34 years of working experience. Wow. Her working life has taken her through different organizations in Nigeria, like the Stanbic IBTC Bank, Crusade Sterling Pensions Limited, where she was the pioneer head of marketing, Guarantee Trust Group as head of business development, Department of Assure Asset Management Limited, a subsidiary of GT Assurance PLC, now known as Assad Mansard. Inyang is currently the managing partner and co-founder of Avati Professional Managers, an all-female business solution agency in Lagos. She founded it about 8 years ago, post-retirement with her two other ladies. They are driven by passion to help SME owners run their business for growth and legacy, ensuring that the business does not stop with them. Our core areas of expertise are personal financial planning, retirement planning, sales, and marketing. She's happily married to Sammy, and they have three wonderful children, the millennials. She fondly calls them champions. I'm glad to bring her upstage, and the floor will be all hers once she comes upstage. Wow, great to have you. Yo, so great to have you on this show. Thank you for
Thank you,
honoring my
Sandra.
invitation. Thank you for, under a short notice, you were able to make this work. It's awesome. And I think that's how leaders think when they want to
Thank
impact their
you.
work. They can do anything to make sure that they make a difference. Thank you for honoring our invitation. We're glad to have you. I'd like you to tell us about yourself more. Let our audience hear from you. They want to hear from you and know what you do. Thank you. The floor is all yours now.
All right. Thank you, Sandra. What a wonderful introduction. I mean, you you really hyped me. Oh well, God bless you. Okay, so I
Amen.
mean, it's really a pleasure to be here, and it's very good to. I'm usually excited when I'm called to share my experiences because sometimes there's just a tendency when you see somebody up there, you think, oh, I mean, it's been easy breezy. Actually, not. It hasn't been easy breezy. Yes, I have over 34 years working experience now, and it cuts across different, sectors of the economy. But in all that grind, I see how God has used it to culminate into what I'm doing now. The experiences have been majorly in financial services industry, banking, yes, asset management, yes, pensions, yes, right? But what I do now, in addition to running the partnership with two ladies, where, like you said, we are, a business solutions agency, let me just put it that way, because we have an audit subsidiary, we do training, process management, we also offer accountancy and tax advisory and financial advisory services. In all of that, the idea was that, okay, everybody will bring their own competency on board so that this will be a one-stop shop for medium-sized companies, small companies, and all that to access any business solutions that they desired. I am very excited and happy to say that it's gone very well. And this is something that we just came into after retirement, right? So I tell myself that I'm in my second career. Because
Wow.
I mean, yes, I mean, to retire, from active service and just sit down, one, I feel that nobody should do that if you have a burden for other people. Why? Because you've acquired a lot of experience and knowledge in your corporate life. So do you now want to just shut it down and nobody gets to, tap from it and learn from it?
Yes, glean from you.
Exactly. So part of what we are doing now is sort of a give back. I mean, I like to put it that way. I know you say, oh, the industry is driven by young people now and all that, but let me tell you, there's always a place for experience.
Yes, you can't buy
I
that.
mean, you can't. And yes, I mean, in Nigeria, for example, people say, oh, no, I mean, the younger people have it now. But let me tell you, in other climes, that appreciation is there for people who have, gone through the grind and they've acquired experience. And so a lot of organizations are actually looking for people with such skills to come and share those skills and give back, to the organizations. And it has started a bit in Nigeria as well, because I see it in a few banks who are calling back their old staff to come back and man some specific positions because they know that they understand the system. So in the partnership, that is what we do. And honestly, it's made me come alive because I mean, here I'm 64, by the way. Well, I'll be 64 in a couple of weeks.
Wow, you
So
don't look it.
thank you. But you know what it does, it keeps your mind very active because in having to offer services, you have to get on top of knowledge yourself. What are the current trends? If you have a training, for example, you have to be able to prepare your training materials
Yeah.
to, show current trends. What are the new guidelines? I mean, if it's a financial course, for example, what's the Central Bank of Nigeria policy on it, etc. So you have to be on your toes, delivering that. But something that I then realized that I had a passion for, and now I believe that it was born out of my experience in the pensions industry.
Yeah.
And that is, over the years, I kept seeing the burden, that was on people when they were about to retire, of just not knowing what they were coming into. I mean, you see bleakness in people's eyes. And sometimes it's not even about the money, because some people were in organizations and they were at positions that they were paid very well.
Yeah.
But to now retire into nothingness, because this is now like an enforced vacation, is with no end. And I see the fear in people's eyes. I see the trepidation and just bleakness. And over time, as I began to pray about, I mean, because you just take these things to God and, you want Him to just give you some clarity. And some doors started opening in that wise. And I now knew that this had to be God, you know. Yes, one, I feel that as a retiree, I'm also believable
Yeah.
because I have gone through it. I'm in it, right?
Yeah, sure.
So, question, do you see me as a retiree? because your life does not have to shut down just because you've stopped working. You
Sure.
know, just because you've come out of the workforce, oh no, I don't have anything doing now. And repeatedly, when I have seminars and workshops, that is what I see. So now I'm also in that space where it's almost like a ministry, trying
Mm.
to get people to understand that, listen, life does not end when you
And
step
there,
out of 9 to 5. Life doesn't end.
it doesn't.
There's a lot you can give, and you also need to ensure that you've done very well with your relationship, building. So you have different support groups. You're not just a one-way street like that. I mean, my life right now, and this has been intentional, that around me, of course, I have family, I have friends from way back, I have classmates, I have former colleagues. So you have pockets of different support
Relationships.
exactly in your life that sort of deliver a support system for you, when you are out of that rat race of 9 to 5. You know, in when I was in Examansat, we ran an asset management subsidiary, in that group. And I was head of business development. So my job was really to, bring in the high net worth individuals, convince them that we wanted to manage their money, discuss, what their financial goals were and all that. And so that we could develop portfolios that were able to deliver the goals that they had. I mean, it was quite a number of years I spent doing that, but right now I see the way it ties in with what I do when I'm talking to people that are about to retire. Because what you're doing with your money is also very relevant in how you're going to retire. Because financial planning is a major part of retirement. If you've not managed your finances well, you are not likely to retire well, because even if every other part of your plan kicks in, it is the money that is the enabler.
Yeah.
The finances are the enabler, right? So, okay, people tell me that when they retire, they want to take a boat cruise. That doesn't happen without the funds.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
did you develop that discipline of putting aside money while you were working, investing it with the mind that you need this money to deliver on this dream? Because, when you start thinking of your life in retirement, you should ideally paint a picture for yourself that this is the type of retirement that I want. I mean, everybody has different pictures, they want to paint for themselves. My plans or my goals are different from yours. So if I tell myself that in retirement, at least up to when my bones won't allow me to travel anymore, I want to be able to travel, say 3 or 4 times a year. I want to see different parts of the world. I want to visit my children. I don't want to be a burden to them even when I visit them. All those things. I want to make sure I have a brand new car, because the last thing you want to do as a retiree is spend
Yeah.
your Saturdays at the workshop, fixing
Yeah.
cars,
Fixing
all those
cars.
things. Exactly. And also, I want to buy a new home, perhaps an apartment, that is self-maintained. I don't want to be able to think about, gardening. Is the gardener coming? Is it not coming? I need a gate man. I need, my generating set. If you live in Nigeria like I do, all that is taken care of. I just pay a service charge and all that is taken care of. So my life is on easy street.
Yeah.
But all those things take planning. And it is while you are working, you need to have that at the back of your mind. Because I know that quite a number of young people are starting to get that idea that they need to do this. But sometimes there's just that youthful exuberance where they feel, and unfortunately, the role modeling that we have now hasn't really helped much, where people think that you can just stumble on money, you hit it big,
Not
and
possible.
then things start happening. Yes, of course, it's happened for a few people, but that cannot be what one is hoping for. There's
Yeah.
a place for working hard so that you can then enjoy the fruits of your labor. And one of the things I feel that I don't see so much with the younger generation is that grit, that ability, that resilience,
To
to
stay
go,
put.
exactly, to walk through, situations and make sure that, it delivers on what they want. So you don't have to give up so easily. So I wish that, they could be more resilient, develop that grit, and just, know that if I do this consistently, I mean, it's like when you are investing, for example, there's something called law of compounding in investment. I mean, where you know that so long as you're consistent and say, even if it's the same amount you're putting aside every month, I mean, if you put aside $100 this month, one, by the time you add another $100 by the end of month two, there's also the interest from the original $100 added to it. So
Which is
that
compounding.
exactly. So that law of compounding, helps you to deliver on your goals, but it takes discipline. It takes consistency, and you have to be very resilient and determined, to deliver on what, So the point is, I mean, there has to be that mindset of constantly planning, constantly planning, because if you don't, I mean, you remember what they say, that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, something like
Sure.
that. Yeah, because I mean, really, what are you even investing for? What are your goals 5 years from now? What do you hope your life is going to be like? And when we were growing up, those were the things that informed many of the things we did. Because I mean, even when you are working, there was that thing that if I delivered on my targets and all that and worked a certain way, I would be promoted. I
Sure.
remember I remember once, when I was working in Stanbic IBTC, then it was investment banking and trust company, because I was a near pioneer staff. It wasn't just an investment bank then, IBTC. And I remember one year I wasn't promoted. Oh, was I gutted? Because I felt I worked really hard. But guess what? Hard work doesn't deliver sometimes. You have to bring a little extra into it. And I remember the MD called me to his office, and because of course he knew I was going to cry, so he had put a box of tissue already on his desk. So he said, Inyang, I just wanted to talk to you and all that. I'm sure you're surprised you're not promoted. I said, definitely I'm surprised. He said, well, I mean, compare yourself with some other people in the bank, for example. I mean, you are doing your job, but some people are going above, a little above that, and that the system has to reward them for the extra that they are doing.
Mm,
So sometimes it's not just about, I mean, I'm doing my job, I'm working hard. What extra are you bringing to the table?
sure.
You know? And then I used to wonder that, listen, I mean, that was the first time I heard it. But when he said it, because I had that maturity, I understood what he meant. I understood. Because in my current business now, when I'm talking to my staff, that is the same mindset, because somebody showed me that it's not just enough to deliver 100%. What's wrong with delivering 120%?
Go above it.
Go above it. I mean, I recall when we started my partnership, and the gentleman that was, instrumental to bringing us together, we ran strategy sessions to, determine our compatibility, what everybody was bringing to the table and all that, draw up a partnership agreement and all that. I remember him saying that, listen, there are four of you, but the idea is not for each person to deliver 25%. That after all, if I do 25, you do 25, I mean, at the end, we have 100.
100.
No,
Yeah.
that you have to work as if you are the only person. So you have to be delivering 100%. And I thought about it and I thought, true.
Sure.
Because, okay, what if it was only me? I should deliver. So if everybody comes into this thing delivering their utmost best and trying to even exceed that, then that is a recipe for success. And I know that, the once the attitude is right, there's I mean, people say, oh, don't say be patient. Nobody has time for patience anymore. There is a place for patience.
Yeah, it is a virtue. You
It
have
is
to.
it It's a virtue. There's a place for it. I mean, I'm not saying you should be just tolerant of mediocrity. I mean, if you're not your aspirations are not being met in a particular place, you should stay there. But now we've just come to assume that, oh, Gen Z and millennials would never work beyond maybe 2 to 3 years in an organization. Why? Who said it has to be like that? I mean, did anybody write any contract with them to say, oh no, as you've come in, we don't expect you to stay beyond 2 to 3 years? There's still a place for, sticking into a place and
Yeah.
where
I'm plugging in.
and that's right. Plug in and log in and just stay there. Because also, because life should not just be about money. Because I know
Yeah.
sometimes, we're driven by, oh, if I resign from here and go to another place, I'll be joining at a slightly higher level. When I was in banking, it was happening a lot, where, oh, you are a senior banking officer here, you work as you get your promotion, maybe just put in a few months, and then you move to another
Mhm.
bank. Because you're a senior banking officer here, when you move to another bank, you're an assistant manager. So you stay there and grind, and maybe you get a deputy manager. As soon as you get the deputy manager, you apply to another bank, you move, you get in as a manager. But at the end of the day, we also saw that trend was delivering very shallow leadership for many of the banking institutions because people were not grounded,
Yeah,
in the
enough before they
knowledge.
move.
Yes, especially areas like banking operations. If you don't stay in there and learn, the tough, you will be very watery and wishy-washy. And after a while, we now started seeing that trend in the banking institutions where people at senior levels were not grounded because there was money had chased them to keep moving and moving, just moving horizontally until
Yeah.
they got to AGM, GM, and all that. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it shouldn't always be about money. So for me, that is my own principle. It shouldn't always be about money because what delivers on a wholesome career is all the experiences, the relationships. I mean, now I feel that I have incredible social currency. Why?
Yes, and that you can't buy with money.
You can't. I
Cannot be
mean,
bought.
that is influence you can't buy
I will not be
because
traded.
it can't. It can't. I mean, sometimes it's a question of, oh, does anybody know somebody here? And all I have to do is just think a bit and say, you know what? I probably will be able to get this person. If I call so and so person, I know they can link me up. And sometimes it's just as simple as that.
Sincerely,
So
that's the same thing that even affected me. I was a
yeah,
salesperson for
yeah.
like 18 years.
Hmm.
There's really no company I do not know in Nigeria. Just name it. So once in a while, I send messages just to keep the relationship alive.
And you have to fuel that relationship.
Yes, because you can't just leave it for 7, 8 years and now want you need
No,
a favor, you
no,
want to go back to it. No. So once
no.
in a while, I reach out to them. I reach out to them, I just
Absolutely.
say, Happy New Month. How is your family? And like, oh, I just thought of you today and I thought to
Yeah,
reach out.
exactly.
And they feel loved. They feel, oh, so you thought of me. Ah,
No,
thank
people,
you.
people, people like to be appreciated. People like to be remembered, and it shouldn't be when you need a favor that you then now call on the person. So I mean, if something that I don't know, maybe it comes to me naturally, but I have that thing that I just keep in touch with people. I never burn any bridges. I
No,
never burn bridges
there's a
because you
saying
never
that
know.
relationships are the ships you ride on to destiny to get to your
Absolutely,
destination.
I
So the
totally
moment
agree.
you spoil those relationships, you'll be stagnant.
I totally
There are
agree.
places you need to hop and fly to get there.
Yeah,
Because you don't have any good relationship, you will crawl.
yeah,
You can be there for years,
exactly.
but because you
No,
don't have a good
nobody to
relationship.
hoist you up.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
So
in life, we need to be careful, the relationships you keep.
yeah,
Don't burn your bridges. It's maturity when you have issues with people and you think there's a strained relationship. It's always good you go back to
always.
to strengthen those relationships.
Yes,
If you have to
yes.
say I'm sorry, just to make sure you you've taken care of the wound.
Exactly.
And
Fix it.
fix
Yeah.
it. Don't
Fix
run
it.
away. It is said
Don't
that when
run.
you run away from your battle, you will live to fight it again.
Yeah.
And you never know where you will go. I heard of a story of a man who went
Hmm.
to UCH to look for his daughter. He wasn't properly dressed. So everyone who came across him that he was asking for help looked down on him and walked away. There was this particular girl who met him, and she was ready to take him all around. You know the way UCH is in Ibadan.
Yes, I
Taking her
do.
from one office to the other. And they got talking. Guess what? The scholarship that this lady has been applying in the last 2 years that she's never gotten. The man was the chairman of the scholarship
Wow.
on a platter of gold. She didn't even need to go for interview. She got the scholarship. Perhaps she
Wow.
had acted like the other people who met the man. And I tell people, I say, delay gratification for future enjoyments. Suffer
Yes.
until you have strength. When I was growing, my colleagues, my classmates were telling me, you act like a guy. When we are talking about fashion, you are talking about investments. You are talking. I used to have a trust fund for my children in Asad Mansard. Asad Mansard
Excellent.
opposite my office, African Insurance Building. So
Excellent.
when I'm on break, I just stroll and go there. Even now, I have stocks in this your other company that is in Maryland. What's it called? Asad Mansard that is into stocks.
Oh, okay. The asset management subsidiary.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 So right from growing up, that's why it's good for as parents. We need to start teaching our children this investment thing.
Oh,
So that,
absolutely.
like when I was working, I would go to Oasis Insurance. I would take a loan of 500,000. I'll go and buy stocks when it's low. When we get need of money, maybe to pay school fees, buy a car, I was able to say, okay, go and take GTB stocks.
And
Seems to be
celebrate.
higher. Sell some. Let's get a car. Sell some. We didn't need to go around to say, please borrow me money to pay house rents. Borrow me money, to pay for this. It is unheard of. People don't like when you come to them to say you want to pay for this, and you're looking for money. People want to hear you have business idea, and I have
Yes.
40% or 60% of the money, and I want to establish people. That's what people want to hear. But when you go
Exactly.
and say, I want to borrow money for food, how do you pay back? So I always tell people, I said, don't just sit down and expect success to come meet you. You got to walk the road. You got to go
Yes.
through the journey. And the
Yes.
journey to life is not easy. You have to go through it. It's not easy. And that's why relationships are key. You don't have to
Very
know
important.
everything. Like when you spoke to me now, I said, you've got the experience. 34 years being in financial institution, that's a lot. You can't buy that in the market. So that's why I said, even when you get someone who is agile, young, and youthful, cannot be compared with you because you have shown maturity over time. You've shown responsibility. You've been stable in your place of work. This youth that is very agile, the turnover of this youth is high
Wow.
because they're
It's
looking for
high.
money. You are probably looking for. My dad would tell me, work for companies that will take care of you when you're old. Don't just work for any company that will just pay you and forget your retirement. And when you spoke about retirement, it really touched my heart because that's a phase everyone will face.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh
the
yeah.
earlier you start, plugging in to say, I am doing this for my tomorrow, the better for you.
Absolutely.
The better. Because I read a book that says it's only a fool that works and will not pay himself and will not save for rainy day. How do you expect the money? The same strength you have today, 20 years from now, you won't have same strength.
Oh no, 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 you won't.
So, and what plans do you have on ground to take care of your tomorrow? You don't want to be a burden to your children.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a liability
Yeah.
to your children.
Rather, you should be,
Mm.
sorry, that's an alarm. Yeah, and rather, we should be a blessing and a mentor. Because at this time, you want to mentor them. You
Yeah.
want to show them route and things they could do to multiply their money. Not only make money, manage money and multiply it. And you don't get to
Absolutely.
buy things just at the spur of the moment. You must plan for it.
You
You
must
must
you must
know
have
that,
a budget. Yeah.
yes, where there is no budget, anybody will come with any bill and anything to show you will buy. So, like me, my husband told me, so whenever I go to the shop, you know what rings into my head? Buy only what you need. So he's
Yes.
always scared to take me because he knows that I'll tell him, when did you have plans to buy this? You want to buy it now or we leave it? I said, do you have need for it? I said, we have a lot of gadgets in the house, but you aren't using it. Let's buy it when the need come for it. You tell me,
Yes.
no, the price would have gone up. I said, no, buy only what you need for the time being. I said, time value for money is different. The money I invest today, 20 years cannot be the same because
I
of
agree.
inflation and the rest.
Oh, yes,
By the time
inflation.
investing, by the time you want to buy those things, even if it's double, I have made much more. I can buy that thing more than one. So he will tell me, whenever I go to the store, I just remember your voice. Buy only what you need.
You
He
need,
said because he knows when he
yes.
gets home, the first thing I will ask him. So most times I don't send him. I tell him go to the market because I can't see good things, and So we need to know our strengths.
Yeah,
Not everybody is a saver.
I
It's
agree.
an investor and
Yeah,
everything. So
but you
once you
should have somebody that can
know,
check you. Have an
once you know your
accountability
strengths,
partner.
and
Yeah,
your spouse has the strength to save and invest,
yeah,
please give that person room to help manage your money.
yes,
Just give room
yeah,
to manage, because for me, he knows that I'm the investor, I'm the manager. So he would first of all ask me, do we do this? Sometimes when he buys those things, he would hide them because he knows it will lead to maybe a strain, an argument. Why did you buy this? You didn't tell me. We didn't have plans to buy it. So a lot of times it's good with plan, it's good with budgets,
yeah,
just as you spoke. And as a retiree, I've seen retiree kill themselves because what they paid them, they went into a business and everything went away.
yeah.
So the person became frustrated and was never happy. Looking at the other side of life, how do I manage? And for someone who has not tried a business, it's not the time to put 100% of what is paid to you into a business. You can try with the 25%. And that's why the pension company, when people lose their job, they don't give you all your money together. They give you
Exactly.
25% of the money. Once you're
Absolutely.
able to
Yeah.
multiply it and you probably need more funds, they can assist. But you've not multiplied it and you're calling for more, they will not give you. After the 25% they give you after losing your job or something, or impeding danger that you have need for money, they give you 25%. And after that, they don't give you any longer because they're looking at tomorrow, you need this money once you're 50. And for retirement, when you retire, it's like you're preparing to die because your brain and everything starts shutting down. So there's no retirement, because if you love what you do, you will do it to your 60, 70, 80. You can do it on a lesser level where you're not putting enough energy. You can be an advisory role while there are managers managing your organization. So you can't tell me that you want to retire when you're 50 because they said that's the age to retire. Because the cells of the body, it is said that a giraffe had a long neck because the giraffe was making use of his neck. He was always going for leaves that are higher than it. So it would be pushing himself. Then after a while, this is science. That's what we learned in science. That the giraffe now had a long neck because the giraffe puts the neck to use. So what you don't use start dying.
Yes, it
Even
does.
houses that people build, once there is no life in that house, the house are having cracks. The foundation start becoming, watered, that shaky, such that a house where no one has lived for 15, 20 years, you can't live in such a house. They'll tell you you have to bring that house down because the foundation and everything is not right for you to put any other building on. And so a lot of times it's good is to say you don't have to be great, but you say you don't have to be great to start. That's a word for everyone. You have to start in order for you to be great.
Be great.
You might not have started saving. You might not have started doing what we have just discussed with me and my professor, Professor Inyang. I want to advise you, just start wherever you are. No matter how small, you can say, oh, I don't have enough money. I'm not being paid enough. There's too many bills and too many expenses. There will always be expenses. There will always be inflation. You have to tell yourself, I have to discipline myself for tomorrow's enjoyments. You have to go out of your way to start. You don't have to be great. You don't have to be great to start. But you have to start in order for you to be great, because you know where you're going to, because you have a picture. Because it says where you don't picture, what you don't picture in your mind, your legs will never take you there. So what you don't picture, if you picture you want to live in a mansion, You picture you want to own, several industries. You picture you want to have a foundation and the rest. You have to see it coming. You have to see it with your mind eyes. Then you will walk to it. What you don't focus, what you don't see, you can't embrace. So I want to encourage you that for whatever you find yourself doing, please, that's where discipline comes. Success and failure must be kept together. That's the word by John C. Maxwell. He said, failure makes you humble. But when you put success and failure together, it shows resilience. Because you've been through hard times. So your success, you know where you're coming from. That failure will humble you. But because you keep failing and you are aspiring to get to success, you will keep working hard. And that's why resilience come in. Because you're not wallowing in your failure, but you're trying as much as possible to work harder, to do something differently in order to be able to get to that level of success. So we've got to be intentional. We've got to be disciplined. And we've got to look beyond today and look at tomorrow. What will my tomorrow be like? How do I see myself 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now? And I think with all we've shared, this has been a blessing. And I don't know if you have any more words, because I didn't have to ask you any question. You are loaded. You just you just said everything, line after the other. I was enjoying it. But an exciting moment for me. When
Thank
you
you.
experience who have been through different orders to become a star, you have to have a scar. You've been through several, downs, up and downs. So it was easy for you to tell your story where you're coming from. So it was awesome having you on this show.
Thank you very much.
I don't know if you have a last word you want to say to the people, because we've exceeded our time. This is 6 minutes.
I just want to encourage them. The older ones to have it at the back of their mind that the younger ones need to be mentored, and they cannot be mentored just by words. They have to be mentored by our actions. Let us live the life that we want them to emulate. But I think that's quite important.
Yeah. And you have to reach out to the people you want to mentor you. Maybe you see somebody around you who is doing what you love to do or where you want to be tomorrow. Approach them. People are very willing to mentor people, to show you the road, how they went through it. He said life rewards the people who initiates, not people who sit down to wait for things to happen. So you can't wait. As much as you will need a mentor, you need to approach them. You understand? You need to. He said keep moving. For all, just keep doing something. So I want to encourage everyone. Thank you so much for the words that you shared. We need a mentor. Please reach out to someone around you, someone you love to be like, someone who is doing something that is inspiring you. Reach out to them that you want them to mentor you. And it's just a matter of time. You have a discussion and a dialogue with the people, and you start your stuff, the mentoring process. So it's very encouraging. Like I'm on the mentoring. I had to go for this Maxwell leadership coach. I had to pay for my mentoring. So sometimes you might have to pay for mentoring. Everything doesn't have to be free. I had to pay for mentoring because, to have people who would mentor you. So it is all right. You meet people and ask them. Some will do it for free. Some you might have to pay money. Thank you so much for being on this show.
It was my pleasure.
Yeah, and if you have a question, you want to reach out to Inyang Sami-Orungbe, you can send me a mail or send me a text. You can reach me at info@deepinsightworld.com or info@sandraukoh.com. I'll be able to reach out to her. And please, can you send your social media stuff so I can share with my people so that it will be on this chat. You can send it via the chats so that people that want to reach out to you, they want to follow you, they want to ask some questions, they can often reach out to you. It's been so exciting having you on this show.
All right. So that's my Instagram handle.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for honoring our invitation. I would always.
It was my pleasure. It was my pleasure.
Always come back to you, please.
I had a great time.
To me, it's so great meeting you, ma.
All right.
So thank you very much, ma. Have a nice day.
Thank you too. You too. God bless you.
Bye-bye. Amen, ma.